Welcome back, everybody, to SHOT 2022. We're at the Blue Force Gear booth, and it's day 2 of SHOT, which is why my voice is already starting to go. Actually, quite fortuitous, because this segment we're talking about a new product, the GMT Sling, the Gimme Tail Sling. The reason it's fortuitous that my voice is going is because Chuck, who is a heavy influence in the design, the requirement, the capability of tailed slings, predominantly emanated from him. Chuck, I'm not a tailed sling user, so because of that, I'm going to let you take it, brother.
Sure.
Take us all the way through the ifs, ands, whats, hows, and whys of the GMT Sling.
Okay, so I've been working with Blue Force Gear on various stuff for a long time, and all of the sling designs, while exceptional, were all close tail in design. And what I found was that I was going to have to resize slings between slick and fully kitted, and whether I was going to go front sling swivel or rear sling swivel. And we'll talk about the why that I changed the placement of my sling based on what I was doing operationally. And so the amount of enclosed loop was not enough range of adjustment for what I wanted, so I had to get that off of the friction ends. And with open tail designs, it's because there was more total adjustment, I could leave the friction adapters mounted to my sling swivel sockets all the time, sling swivel, excuse me, and then just play out as much or as little tail as I needed. So it covered me for a greater variety of girth and locations on the weapon without having to go through and mess with friction buckles. And that was essentially the only reason why I used it. We're going to talk about some of those use cases now. This is the Press Check Consulting Rifle from Sons Liberty Gunworks, and it comes standard with 2 QD socket points, M-lock on the gun. And the reason for that is because I want to have the gun resting. When I'm carrying it and I take my hand off the rifle, I want the gun in such a spot where the kit, whether it be my magazines or whatever on the front of my plate carrier, are at a CG point where the muzzle and suppressor, potentially hot suppressor, are facing away from me. If I have the sling too loose, the CG point works the other direction and the magazines actually push the hot suppressor towards me and my expensive Cry britches or whatever else I got going on. So why would I carry the gun that loose? The reason for that is if it is all the way out here to the front and we end up having to do some type of CQB where I'm driving onto the hard side, and Chris is going to demonstrate that, what ends up happening is you can feel some binding. And any time that we start to feel like we're fighting our gear, our default is going to be to go ahead and loosen. And that's fine when we have both hands on the gun, but then when we immediately drop the gun to do something else, we're relying that the neutral position on our sling is still enough that it's acting like a good rifle holster. And when I ran forward for CQB all the time, I never found that right balance between tightness to my body and not binding me when I was driving the gun to the hard side. So my default configuration for doing CQB is to bring it back closer, which allows you to go tighter and still get this, but because of where it's located, you can drive the rifle to the hard side while maintaining an overall tighter posture. What this doesn't do good for you is allow you to use any of the traditional sling supported things that we do. Get a wrap, getting your hand in there, flexing a body position to add extra tension. So if I have the time to identify, yeah, I can't hit that guy out there and he doesn't know that I'm here yet, I can move the sling forward and then drop down into a more traditional positional shooting stance and make the maximum use of the Blue Force Gear sling. Another thing that I like about this 2-point design is if I need to take a shot, but I can't make a wrap because I want my hands here, I have the option to come off the rifle, rotate it inboard, hook the sling, and then drive the rifle back up. And that adds immediate additional tension. And if I need a little bit more from there, I can come across, grab that tail, and pull it forward while keeping my eye on the gun. And when I get it, I'm back on the trigger and I'm able to start firing. So the ability to adjust using firing hand while keeping the support stability arm and the sight picture consistent, milk it a little bit more perfect, and then back on the rifle, I consider to be extremely, extremely beneficial. So that's my quickie, like I'm coming out of a building, I'm moving across open area, and there's a guy over there, and when I mount up on him, wobble zone, just a little bit more than I want, so I'm stacking the odds in my favor. I'm getting a little bit of stability from my rifle holster or my sling when it's still stuck in the CQB door kicking configuration. But if I have time, I'm going to pop that sling swivel, move it forward, and actually get a good wrap and really lock the gun in tight.
That is definitely a new technique to me. I've never seen that, never heard that before. Using your strong side hand to take tension out of the tail sling.
And it really helps out when we like drop into like NRA traditional kneeling supported or sitting, to have to break out of position to come back and start cranking on your sling because you didn't get it right when you set. It's a beautiful thing to just be able to come off that gun, pull, and then get right back on that rifle and get locked in. And we talk about the proper use of that sling in depth in the press check no-fail rifle course, because we rely on our slings heavy. They're not necklaces, and they're for more than just holding the rifle to your body. They are additional stability that you're always going to have with you when you have your rifle, provided that your sling's ergonomics don't suck so bad that you swim out of it, and now it just becomes a snag hazard in a dynamic shooting environment. So, yeah, man, that's what I like about it. The fabric is really amazing. When using friction adapters as opposed to old style barrel lock designs, the closed tail slings, I used to have to load them with the weapon to get them to move sometimes, and this open tail design is just so smooth. It's got a big old fat nasty tab on it, so I can find it and pull on it in the dark. It's not a piece of 550 cord or string or shock tube, and you can grab it and crank on it. Down at the end, you've got a pull tab so you don't run off the end of your fast rope, if you will. You can grab that thing and get some leverage on it. It's also too big. There's no way it's going to get behind your trigger guard and your trigger get in there and start to cause problems. And the chances of it flopping up into the mag well and staying in there long enough for you to jam a mag in and have a user-created malfunction, very, very minimal, guys. So all of the benefits that I like from previous open tail slings, but bringing some of the material solutions that Blue Force Gear has crushed for years in their dominance in the closed tail sling market. So it's like a day walking vampire. It's everything I liked about closed tails and everything I liked about open tails, just kind of thrown into one product. And I'm really happy to have been on the beta testing and design team for this.
I can't tell you how many times at my old address, some of the legacy systems, they work off a teeth design, right?
Yep.
The more you use it, the worse it gets. So you're constantly switching them out, or you get pissed off and tie the tail in a knot, or swizzle stick it with electrical tape, and now you're back to just having
a fixed 2-point.
A gun necklace that doesn't do anything. Well, this is the new GMT Sling, and I really appreciate your time and walking me through that. This is not a system I went away from these years ago, but I am excited to run one of these in your upcoming no-fail rifle class in Florida, so it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to learning some new techniques and maximizing this thing down there. Are you going to let me run one of these rifles too?
We might be able to make that happen, my friend.
That would be great. All right, everybody, thanks for your time today. Log on for more content here from Blue Force Gear booth, SHOT 2022.
We're out.